I have so many tips for you if you have just graduated. Welcome to the Career Management Podcast for Black women, where we unapologetically help you navigate your workplace crazy. I'm your host, Felicia Ann Rose Enuha, also known as the Trill MBA. Why? Because I'm the trillest MBA you will ever know. And every week, we are going to bring you the tips, tricks, and tactics you need to survive and thrive in the workplace. So if you like our content, subscribe, leave comments. Let us know what workplace crazy you need help with. We got you. It really doesn't have to be that hard. As you'll learn in today's episode, where we are dropping gems, let's start the show. Hey, happy Sunday. So glad you are back. And I have so many tips for you if you have just graduated. Some of you have graduated from undergrad. Some of you have graduated from grad school. No matter what, if you are fortunate in this crazy job market to have landed a full-time job that you will be starting, if you haven't already started it, in the next couple of weeks after graduation, then this episode is for you. And for all of you out there who are in the job market, like your friend right now, trust me, you're going to be fine. You're going to land the right role. Keep networking and building your network so that you land in the place that you need to land to kickstart the next chapter in your career. Okay? So keep the faith, stay strong. You're going to be fine because the secret is it all works out. Now, I have a lot to talk about and I'm not going to waste any time, but today we are really focusing on those first 90 days that you start your job. And in fact, you should save this episode and keep it and watch it the week before you start any job because it still applies. But I want to specifically talk about all of those people who have just graduated, okay? Because you're at a special juncture in your career journey because you get to play dumb and you get to be new. And I want you to use that to your advantage. So let's dive into the first segment. Two things that you need to focus on in the next 90 days of you starting your job. This is what we're going to talk about first. There's only two things. Number one, I want you to learn the landscape of your company. You need to focus on really understanding the company culture. Okay? It is imperative that the first 30 days, for sure, all you're doing is meeting people, being nice, and figuring out how this place operates. Now, the truth of the matter is you really won't have a full understanding, like all the dots won't connect until you've actually been in role for like 14 months. Because what happens is in those 14 months, you get to see the first full year of this company and how it operates and what happens and like the things that are routine, like business planning cycles and all those things. But then you also then start to see, oh, it starts over again now. And so you'll start to see like month 13, 14, and 15, like, oh, okay. And we did that because now we're doing this. And now we do this because we're going to do that. And that's coming. And so you can start to understand and see how the business cycles through making their money year over year over year. Right. And there are some things that are going to be very routine and very standard. And I want you to pay attention to that, because if your company has great processes and you see and learn and intuitively pick up how those processes can be implemented wherever, that's great knowledge for you to take with you to other organizations who probably don't have as much process as the organization you're with. So for example, if I was to work at a Procter & Gamble, I would learn a lot of process. These people have been doing marketing and marketing consumer goods since the beginning. They are the godfather of consumer packaged goods and brand marketing, right? So if you go to P&G, if you're fortunate enough to land a role there, you want to understand how that place ticks and ties, and you will, because they are very regimented in their processes, and their processes work. And the beautiful thing about working for a place like P&G is that then you learn that, and then you write your ticket to all these other companies who aren't great at process, because you're going to come in and strategically help them fill in the gaps and take what they do have to make it stretch to what it should be as best you can with the resources that they have. And that is valuable to any company. So I know this may be your first job out if you're a recent graduate, but if you're working for like one of these big machines of company, like you really want to get to understand how they operate. Why do they do the things that they do? Because when you get that process down, you can take that process to other places. And the job markets don't be so hard when it gets hard out here. Okay? So that's one reason why I want you to learn the lay of the land. The other reason you need to learn the lay of the land is because you need to understand how the hell this place runs and operates, where you fit in, what you can say, what you can't say. You need to figure out what the unwritten rules of this company or organization is. And the only way you do that is by what? Listening. You have to listen. So I know a lot of times your humanness will say, hey, I've got to stand up here and I've got to make myself known and seen, and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Listen, everything has a time and place. There is a time and place for you to have visibility and take advantage of times of visibility. Your first 90 days is not that time. You're new. You're already a shiny new object. You do not have to posture. You do not have to try to act like you know how to do everything. In fact, you need to play dumb. And you need to ask questions. So the only real talking that you need to be doing is asking questions and understanding what is happening here. How do things work here? And you want to ask it of a multitude of people. And the thing that you're trying to figure out is, who is all on your chessboard? Who are all these players? Who are all these people? Why are they here? What motivates them? What is going on? That is what you need to spend the first 30 days for sure, but that's going to extend into the next 90 days. Part of finding this out also means that you have to work to set up meetings and build relationships with people. And so leaning in to the lay of the land actually means building relationships, because the only way you find out about the lay of the land is through meeting with people and talking with people and listening to people and learning from them what has been happening in the past, what's new, what's different, right? And so you want to set up a meeting with your manager first and ask your manager, who all should I meet with? Now, pro tip, You can tell if you have a really good manager because they will set you up an onboarding plan. They will literally give you the list of people they want you to meet with, the projects they want you to work on. Like, they will lay it out, and according on if they're detail oriented or not, they will write it out for you. But if they're intentionally meeting with you saying this is your onboarding, then that's a sign of a good manager because they're trying to set you up for success. Sometimes there are situations where you just get thrown in there. If you're more seasoned, so let's say you're an MBA, but you worked a lot of years, you may have a manager who just thinks that they don't need to onboard you. You're going to figure it out, and you might be at that level. But even still, really good managers, regardless of what level you are, they recognize this company is new to you, and they will try to set you up for success. So if you are a manager and you're not giving onboarding instructions, plans, you're not helping them meet people, you're trash. What? And you need to fix that. I said what I said.
Bloody hell.
Not sorry at all. Now, the only thing that you need to be worried about as far as an outcome of these meetings, so your goal here is to figure out who has the juice. And the juice is influence. So you want to pay attention when you're going to meetings with coworkers. Who are they talking about? Who are they saying you should meet? Who are they deferential to? Who do they say they like the most? Who's the fun person in the office? Because even the fun person has a little bit of juice. Not quite the juice you need all the time, but you can figure out how to move them on your chessboard to make it work for you, right? So you need to identify the different characters in the office and the different characters on your team. And you need to understand who's deemed the smartest, who's deemed the rock star. You really want to find that person and pay attention to how they move, because they have done a really good job with two things. One, managing their narrative, and two, building relationships. So because they know how to do it in this organization, you need to pay attention and really network with the rock star, or people, make it seem like this is the golden child. You want to make that person your friend. And then you want to glean from them what they're doing to be the rock star. And hopefully they're not an asshole. Hopefully they truly are a real rock star and they are not gatekeeping. They have just figured it out and they're going with the groove, and they're a happy person that likes their job and likes being there. Because most of the time, that's really what the rock star is. They're happy to be there, and they let people know they're happy to be there, and they're having fun, and they're a good time and a good vibe, and they do dope shit. Those are typically the rock stars. Because remember, guys, your performance is only 10% of the equation. What I'm talking about here with the landscape and the relationship building and the narrative driving, that's the other 90% of success in the workplace. Okay? And I don't want you to shy away from this. I know it can be uncomfortable, but I need you to lean in. If you're going to lean in, this is what you need to lean into. Now, the second thing, because we are talking about performance, and this 10%, it's important. It's an important 10%, right? Think about it. The foundation of a house, we can say that's 10% of the house. Like, it's just concrete on the ground. But if that thing cracks and breaks, your whole house could crumble. And that's how you need to think about performance. It just has to be solid. It has to be there. It has to be solid. No cracks in it. It just needs to stand. Now, how you're going to do this, and you're going to do it quickly. So this is the second thing that you need to do in your first 90 days. You need a quick win. A quick win will establish this foundation for you. When you get a quick win, you tell the organization, one, you're capable, you're competent, and you know how to get things done in this organization, and you want to do that as soon as you can. So the easiest way to get a quick win, you're going to ask your manager, hey manager, what's something low hanging that because you didn't have headcount and I wasn't here to help and you're behind on things, or things are kind of chaotic or crazy or whatever, try to put a positive spin on it. Like, hey manager, I know you have a lot of things on your wish list. Is there any low-hanging fruit? Because I'm new, it would help me onboard better because I have to go ask people questions to get this done. And it would just be, finally, this thing is done. It's off the to-do list. What is that thing I can help you with? You don't have to answer this today. Think about it. Come back. We'll circle back on it while I'm still onboarding. So this is something you want to ask your manager if they haven't already given it to you. Like a lot of times people managers are like, oh my God, I've been waiting for you to be here for so long. Here's the 3 things I need you to do yesterday, right? If you don't get that, then you have to ask for it. But that is where your quick win will be. The thing you can do in the first 3 to 6 months, so 90 to 100 days, that you can get it accomplished, get the checkbox and say, I did this. And a lot of times it's something that you'll need to really navigate the organization in order to get it done. So you'll need to gather people, get them all aligned. You'll need to find resources. You need to, show your prowess in managing a project, a client, a spreadsheet, an operations problem. It doesn't matter your function or what you're doing. This is across the board, any job. You want to figure out what that thing is. And then you want to execute it, and you want to execute it in only the way you do, which is excellence. Because if you're watching this podcast, you must be excellent. Come on now, girl. Okay. So remember, you need to get this thing done with very little help from your manager, though, because that's how you prove your prowess. You utilize everybody else around you to help you figure out and navigate how to get that thing done. And that really will help your manager, because the last thing that your manager needs is somebody who has to ask them for every single thing. Like, be resourceful. Show some resourcefulness. Basically, it's the workplace version of Google it. So just Google it with your coworkers. Don't ask your manager. Sure, your manager may have the answer, but if they had the answer and they had time to sit there and explain it to you, then they could have just done it themselves. So you go figure it out, okay? And you can do it. And it'll help you build your relationships along the way. So I'm going to recap for you real quick. In the first 90 days, the 2 things you need to focus on: building relationships so that you can learn the lay of the land, right? Asking your manager who you should be meeting with first. And then every time you meet with somebody, ask them, like, who do you think I should meet with who would be interested in my projects or what I'm doing, right? And continue to do this. And don't just stop doing this at 90 days. You need to do this all the time. Like, all the time, always. You need to be having these touch bases and meeting new people, and then keeping connected with the people that you met when you first started and the people you work with. Okay. So this is a continuous practice. But then the second thing you need to focus on is the quick win, so you can set up the foundation. Now, when we get back from the break, I'm going to talk about the administrative task that you need to complete so that you set yourself up for success. And this ain't on your manager. This on you, girl. When we get back. Before the break, I told you the 2 things you gotta do in your first 90 days. Build relationships and get your quick win. Okay, great. Check, check, check. Now, here are things that you need to implement into your workflow. So these I call administrative tasks. Yes, honey, you will have administrative tasks. You are not above them. You will have to check your email. You will have to put meetings on calendars. These are all administrative tasks. But there are some key tasks that you really, really need to focus on and get into practice as a foundation, because one, this practice will cover your ass in case some shit go down in the future. Now, again, you're just starting this job, so we're going to have positive intent. We're going to have good, positive energy. We're going to smile, and we're going to be happy to be here. But understand, shit happens. So we are always going to be prepared for that too. And these practices will also help you prepare for that. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to ask your manager, hey, manager, what is a day that would be good for us to connect every week for about 30 minutes, just as I'm onboarding? And in the future, we could probably have these every other week. But in my first couple of months, I'd like to meet with you, touch base with you. Formally, I'll have an agenda. I'll make sure that we stay on point, and I won't take up any more time than we need to, but at least 30 minutes. And unless your manager's complete and utter gutter garbage, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, great. Tuesdays are probably my best day, or they'll tell you what day is best. And then you put a recurring meeting on the calendar for sometime in the AM, when most people are sharper, not first thing in the morning, but definitely like 10, 11, 12, whatever time zone your manager's in, if you're working remotely, or whatever time zone, you both are in, if you're both in the same time zone. But 10, 11, right before lunch. Please do not do this meeting right after lunch. If you do have to schedule it for afternoon, you want to schedule it before 4 p.m., but after 2 p.m., you want to get in between 2 and 4. Those are the only optimal times in the afternoon, but try not to do that, okay? You want to catch your manager when they're fresh, and you want to be at your freshest. And so that 10 o'clock hour, 11 o'clock hour, that's the best timing. Even 9 is pushing it for me. I'm not a morning person, but you need to understand who your manager is, which leads me to my next administrative thing you need to do. I use with my clients a work style guide worksheet that I, with pride, stole from Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is one of the amazing marketers that I've had the opportunity to work with in my career, and we are friends outside of work. I'm happy to call him my friend because he's one of the smartest marketers, and especially when it comes to innovation, people that I know, like he's beastly. So shout out Michael Pittman, because I stole his work style worksheet. And this worksheet, basically, it's a template, and you give it to your manager, you fill yours out, and then you meet with your manager to discuss. And it has things like, what motivates you in your role? What's your leadership style? How do you like to show up at work? Like, what are some of your pet peeves? And these aren't the exact questions because Michael's more sophisticated, but basically this work style worksheet guides the discussion and lets your manager know like who you are and what you need to be successful. But then you also get to learn who your manager is and what they need, because like on mine, I put my communication preference is email. Like, don't call me. I'm busy. I'm in meetings. I will have a propensity to want to answer your call, but I can't because I'm in a meeting. But because I'm in a meeting, I probably can get back to you faster if you email me, because 9 times out of 10, I can multitask in a meeting, especially if it's a meeting that I'm just having to listen and absorb information. I'm not having to actively participate, which a lot of meetings are that way. So email is always my preferred communication. Bet. Now, if you're my direct report, you need to know that. If you're my manager, you need to know that. If you work with me, you need to know that. These are all things you need to know. And so this work style template helps to guide the conversation. Now, that's exclusively for my clients, guys. If you work with me, this is something I definitely give you, because you definitely need to use it, because we need to use it to craft your narrative. So that's another thing. Everything that you do with your interactions should be intentional And you should be intentional about what you're communicating to the person you're talking with at your new job, because they're going to take sound bites from that. And that sound bite taking then creates your narrative in the organization. So you want to pay attention to and have planned out who you are, who you want to be known for, and what you want the organization to say about you. And most people are going to parrot the sound bites you give them. So make sure that you plan out, like when you meet with your manager, what you want them to know about you, because they're definitely going to go over and tell that. Okay? Now, the other thing you need to do with this work style sheet that you and your manager both fill out and then y'all meet about it, you need to also do that with key team members that you're going to work with. So if you have direct reports, you need to do this exercise with them. If you have key cross-functional team members you work with, or a key partner at an agency, like account manager, if you work with agencies, or if there's a certain contract you work with, people you have frequent touch bases with, and that you need to either deliver work to them or they need to deliver work to you. This is what you should do in your first couple months, meeting with them and getting to know them. And it's very helpful when you have a guide to do that. So make sure you do that. So that's administrative. It's a sheet. You got to fill it out, administrative work. So you've set up one-on-ones. You're doing your work style sheet with your meetings with these key people. The thing you want to do for your one-on-ones, the next thing you do is create a project tracker. And you want to be very detailed for yourself in that project tracker. There's all kinds of you can get them on Etsy. I create my own because they're easy. You just put project name, start date, due date, who's responsible, who's accountable, put the RACI in there. And then I just put like notes every week, like, here's what I did this week on this, is the progress. And so every week I update that with progress. I may make a new tab or what have you, but it's something I would do in Excel all the time. And what that does is not only does it give you, oh, this is what I delivered, this is what I accomplished, this is what I finished. It's documentation. So nobody can say that you didn't do or what you did do, because you've documented it. And documentation beats conversation every day of the week. Okay? Now, make sure that you make it a practice. When you meet with your manager, you want to take this project tracker, walk them through it. Then anything you discuss, write notes or what have you. But then immediately after that one-on-one, so always schedule a buffer between your one-on-one and your next meeting so that you can write a recap email and attach the tracker to the recap email. And make sure at the end you say, hey, just want to send you a quick recap for your notes. And if you have any other questions or something you think of afterwards, you can always ask. And what you want to write at the end. And if anything doesn't sound right in this recap, please let me know so I can address it, quickly and make sure that we are aligned on what I'm working on for the next week, right? Please do this. Please get in a very regimented practice of doing this, because this is your documentation. It is great. Recaps are great documentation, and it helps keep people accountable and helps keep people on track. If you work with cross-functional partners and you're the lead, ask somebody on the cross-functional team to make sure that they send a recap. So hopefully you have a project manager or somebody who loves some project management. There are people who love writing recaps. I hate it. Be honest with you. I've always hated writing recap emails. In fact, I don't particularly care for writing emails because I find that I am very particular about what I'm saying, and I'm very particular about tone and all these things, because microaggressions and managing my narrative and all these things. I find writing emails to be very draining. Some people don't, because they actually don't think about how they write the email. Like, there are a lot of senior leaders who send you trash emails, and they can because they're senior leaders. You are not. So you cannot. So please do not. Thank you. Now, the other thing that I want you to do for yourself administratively, and this is just for you, you don't share this with anybody, but you need to build your relationship tracker. So as you're meeting with people, you need to put a spreadsheet, you need to like write out who you think has the juice. This is why you can't share this, right? And in fact, I would actually do this on a personal computer. I wouldn't do this on my work computer, but I would create a spreadsheet. I'd put people's names, I'd find them on LinkedIn, I'd add their LinkedIns. And I would literally like track who I'm meeting with and why and what they do. And I would map it out. If I get another job, this is something I will definitely do and incorporate into my own administrative practices in the job, because I cannot press you enough about how important it is to understand your chessboard. And understanding your chessboard means understanding all the players on the board. And so building a spreadsheet, learning more about them, putting in notes about them that you can reference, because I don't have that great of a memory. I'm not going to remember their kids' names, but if they tell me their kids' names, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put that in my spreadsheet. If they tell me a birthday, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put that in my spreadsheet, right? Like I am doing my recognizance on these people, because I've got to discern who has the juice, who has the influence. And then I've got to work to really get in with those people. When I say get in, it's a work relationship get in. I'm going to humanize them for me, and I'm going to humanize me for them. And I'm going to work to build this human relationship, working relationship. And I'm going to be very intentional about that. And I'm going to make sure that I add value to this person, because they're going to add value to me when I add value to them. So I'm going to try to figure out how to add value to them. Like when you think through this strategy, you should be in the mindset of how can I add value? Everything you're doing, your narrative, building relationships, learning the lay of the land, all of this allows you to add value. A quick win that's helping the company, helping your manager. When you focus on adding value and the ways in which you can add value to an organization, you start to build the narrative that you add value, that you're important, that you will have influence. And that's how you start gaining your own influence as well. So don't take these things lightly, okay? You have to get in practice. These are the things you need to be thinking through. These are the things you need to be strategizing on. And these are the things that you need to be thinking about. Now we're going to take one more quick break. And when I get back, I'm going to talk about the most important thing that you need to do when you first start your job when we get back. Most important thing. Hey guys, we're back. Wrapping up this episode about the first 90 days. And yes, it is for you new graduates out there. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. And anyone who's starting a new job, this episode is also for you. And if you're not in any of those buckets, then just save this for the time that you're going to need it. Okay. I know I'm saving it for myself right now in my mind. Like, I don't have to remember to do this. Sometimes, guys, those who can do and those who can't teach. And here I am. No, but in all seriousness, the most important thing you need to understand about the next 90 days of you starting this new job is to be happy, excited, and smile. When you bring good energy, that energy comes back to you. It is very, very hard from a human standpoint for people to hate you based on their preconceived notions, their unconscious bias, all the constructs that we live under in this society. From a human standpoint, even with all of that rattling in all of our heads, it is very hard to hate a happy person. Now, you may hate on them as a happy person. You may be like, this happy bastard. And they may get on your nerves a little bit. Because why are they so freaking happy? There's going to be a few people like that. The curmudgeon-y ones, fine. But even them, your energy will be so contagious if you just be happy with life, with this job, at your coworkers. If you just show up with that positive energy, you will be a force to be reckoned with. And I'm telling you, this works. So every morning, if you have to do some affirmations, if you have to pray and ask God to give you the energy to muster it up, if you don't want to be there, or this isn't quite the job you want, but this is the job you got. Like, however you're feeling, put those negative emotions aside, especially fear. If you are feeling afraid and worried and anxious about doing a good job, let all of that energy go and just be happy to be there and just trust. There's no mistake that you can make that you can't fix. You're new. So do not walk in that building with that fear. Do not walk in fear. Walk in positive, happy energy. And the quickest way to get that up is to smile. Show your teeth, girl. That's all you really gotta do. And act like you're happy to be there, even if you're not. Smile. And when people say something crazy to you, smile and be like, that's interesting. Because you don't know these people and you don't know that person who said something crazy to you. They might have some juice. You got to get to know these people, because what's going to happen is even the crazy people that would commit microaggressions or macroaggressions against you, when you come with your positive juju energy, even they have to put their junk aside, because humanness will always trump all the other things. At the end of the day, we are all human beings. And as human beings, we have predictable behavior. So even with the constructs and the bias and all the things that we have to contend with in the workplace, human behavior will trump all of that. And you can predict how they act based on how you show up. And a lot of times, how we show up, if we show up in fear, if we show up in frustration, if we show up in hurt, that will be reflected back to us. But we don't realize it because we've already believed the story that these people out to get me. This person ain't supporting me. They're not on my side. You just got there, girl. We ain't not there yet. They don't know you yet. They're still human beings at the end of the day. So come in with your happy energy and wanting to be friends with everybody. And I guarantee you, you will see a load of difference. Trust me. Now, this one I have implemented and successfully it worked. And the moment I got frustrated, oh no! That's how I know it really worked, y'all. Because the moment I let some frustration show, and it wasn't just a moment, I was unraveling my little narrative I had built because I was mad. Yeah, I'm not perfect.
Really? Well, I'll be.
But it works. If you just show up happy every day, most people will leave you alone. That's really the secret. Ain't that crazy? And be diplomatic when people come at you crazy. Ask the question, oh, why'd you say that? Oh, that's interesting. Can I have some context? Again, giving this aura of positivity, and also I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, I know you talking to me crazy, but I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna ask you, like, oh, help me understand that. Well, and when you're new, oh, I'm new here. Can you help me understand the context? Can you give me some context? This will be great learning for me. And you can cuss them out in your head. Like I just said like 10 motherfuckers in my head for sure. Reimagining times that I was in the workplace. Like I just had a little flashback there. It's that simple, guys. It's not hard. So with all that said, have a great week. Congratulations on your new gig. I know you're going to do awesome sauce, and keep coming back here for more tips, tricks, and tactics to help you strategize the career of your dreams and what you want for your life. Okay? Until next time, guys, keep it trill. Well, guys, that's a wrap on another great episode of the Career Management Podcast for Black women. Yes, girl, this show is just for you. We're here to tell you how to play that chessboard at work, girl. So subscribe, comment, like, follow us on social media at Trill MBA Show. Listen, every time you tell one of your friends, you share this information, you share this podcast, it helps us to grow and make even more dope content just for you, unapologetically. That's why we're here. Now, if you are facing a workplace dilemma, such as a performance improvement plan, or you're not able to secure your promotion and raise that you have worked for and you have deserved, basically, if these people are playing in your face, we are here to help. Go to trillmba.com/coaching to schedule a one-time one-on-one call to workshop your specific dilemma with me. Or schedule a consult to get more information about the consulting packages that I do offer on a longer-term basis. As always, you can reach out to us with your listener letters and your questions at trillmba.com. Until next time, guys, focus on your best possible outcome. Ask for help when you need it. Please, please, please ask for help. And as always, keep it trill. I'll see y'all next week.